Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a review of the new 2013 Evil Dead remake. It's not meant to be a remake, but it is pretty much a remake. If you've seen the original Evil Dead, hits on many of the same points that the original does, and you know, it's pretty much a remake. So this film is directed by Fede Alvarez. I have no idea if I pronounced that correctly, but he was working with Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, who of course made the original Evil Dead so good. So this is quite interesting because it's kind of like a new director's take on the Evil Dead franchise and new into horror. I don't know if he's new into horror films, but this is his first English film. The other films he's made are, I think, Spanish. I'm not completely sure. He's Uruguayan, I think that's the correct thing. If it's not, there'll be a caption or something. So I think his other films might be from Uruguay. This film follows a group of people in the cabin in a cabin in the woods, which was why Cabin in the Woods was so brilliant. And it's actually quite interesting. They have a reason to be there, unlike the first ones. The main character, Mia, is actually a drug addict, and her friends and her brother have come to this cabin in the woods where they used to go when they're little kids, to try and make her quit drugs and go completely cold turkey. Now this is actually quite a good idea. I don't know if it's a good idea to go cold turkey. I know it's meant to be extremely hard to. So the reaction that they get from her is actually quite violent and aggressive, but we're not sure if that's the demons or her just suffering. And they all think it's her suffering, but it gets to a point where it's pretty obvious she isn't suffering. It isn't because she's suffering from withdrawal symptoms, it's because she's been possessed by a fucking demon. This film's story is pretty convoluted, it's not very entertaining. The only character I cared about was the main character, but it is arguable that the main character changes through certain parts of the film. As the main character Mia gets possessed by these demons in the woods because one of the group reads the Necronomicon, which of course brings up all the undead from outside and can call this soul-devouring lord. I'm not quite sure. I have seen the original Evil Dead films. I've seen Evil Dead and I've seen Evil Dead 2. I haven't seen Army of Darkness, but I do want to watch it. I will watch it sometimes, but you know, Bruce Campbell's pretty cool, so I'd imagine that film's really good. I've just talked about how convoluted the plot is. This film's story isn't that great, and the acting in this film isn't good at all. The only character that's actually got good acting is the main character, Mia. Her brother, to me, felt kind of stale, and so did all the other characters. They're just kind of tropes and cliches. Now, the thing I didn't grasp within this film is that I couldn't tell when the film was taking the mick out of the cliches and tropes of the horror films in the 80s, like Evil Dead, which is what Cabin in the Woods did, but it's kind of tongue-in-cheek whilst trying not to be, and I couldn't quite understand whether it was or wasn't tongue-in-cheek, and whether it knew perfectly well what it was doing, or whether it didn't. I'm gonna argue that it did understand what it was doing, because it just makes the film that little bit better. Oh, cinematography. I meant to talk about this earlier. Cinematography in this film is actually surprisingly incredibly well done. The opening shot of the film after the prologue, the opening shot of the film is absolutely amazing. It is one of the best opening shots of a film I've seen in a very long time. I can't remember that shot from Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2. If it is a replica shot, then I am sorry. But the shot that opens the film after the words Evil Dead are on the screen, it is absolutely brilliant. And the cinematography, the way that it moves and disorientates the audience whilst you're watching this film, is constantly on the move, spinning, along with the editing. It really does confuse you, and like I said, it disorientates you. You don't know where to look, what's happening, and then when the first shot is just so beautiful, I can't get over how good it is. It's kind of like a take on The Shining. Well, you know, the first shot of the roads in The Shining, like the cars going around, the camera's just like going into the mountains. It's beautiful. This first shot is absolutely stunningly beautiful, but also twisted and weird at the same time, and it's really, really well done. It really does open your expectations for how the rest of the film's going to make you feel. It's somehow claustrophobic in the confusion that the image isn't actually correct. Okay, so the only reason you'd go to watch this film would be if you were a fan of the originals, but the second reason, even though it contradicts the only, would be the gore in this film. If you've seen the Red Band trailer, you know you are going to want to watch this film if you're a fan of gore. I myself am a fan of gore, I'm a fan of horror films, I've seen a lot of horror films, I've seen a lot of gory films. If you want to like put some recommendations down in the comments or whatever, I'll flick through them and I'll give them a watch if you recommend them. I probably have already seen them because I was, when I was a teenager, very into gore and horror films. Not so much now, but then I really was, so I have seen quite a lot. The gore in this film is pretty fantastic. It combines practical effects and CGI quite well. You can tell the difference between the two, obviously. Practical looks a whole lot better than CGI, but the CGI in this film isn't terrible. There are a couple of moments, such as one of the woman's arms getting turned into a zombie arm. It kind of looked a bit fake, but you can kind of forgive it for that. And there was that moment when she chopped it off and she's walking around with this kind of weird arm that looks like the elbow should be further up the arm than it actually is. There's some amazing gore scenes in this film, and I've never really watched a horror film in the cinema. The only other horror film I've seen in the cinema is actually Woman in Black, because growing up my family didn't like horror films, so all the horror films I've seen I've bought on DVD or watched online and then bought on DVD because I've liked them. You know, people talk about you can now watch horror films on YouTube. You can watch other films on YouTube as well, but you can watch certain horror films on YouTube that are just up there, you know. But it's just brilliant that we can now do this. You know, Netflix, stuff like that. Obviously, I love gory films, so watching a gory splatterfest in the cinema was very, very fun. I thought one of the things about the film that was really good is actually the use of sound. There is occasional moments where there's flies buzzing around and there's little people talking and like gasping and stuff like that, and it's really well done. It really does play with your mind. I honestly thought there was like a fly behind my head. I know it's kind of like surround sound, what it's meant to, but it is actually very well done. It's kind of disturbing, a bit creepy. Oh, sorry, back to the gore. Yeah, this is amazing. There is a lot of gore in this film. I do feel that the first 2/3 of the film has the better gore in it than the ending. The ending takes a turn for the worse in the cinema goer's eyes because it starts to drag a bit. There's something that happens which is completely out of the ordinary. I mean, you're kind of expecting it for this like franchise. I'm going to say franchise, even though I don't really want to connect it to the actual original Evil Dead films, even though it is. And Sam Raimi's going to try and write in, and this new director's going to make another one and try and join the two films so that Ash and Mia come together into one film at the end. But well, that's probably still in discussion. I have heard that, I've read things about it. Yeah, so the gore in the first 2/3 of the film is absolutely brilliant. I really do want to tell you what happens, but I might save that for the spoiler section at the end, because if you have seen the film then you'll know what I'm on about, but if you haven't seen the film I do not want to ruin one bit of it. I'm going to say that there are a couple of scenes in the original Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 which are replicated in this film, so if you see like something, the shot in this film which is kind of similar, that scene is going to happen. And especially where I don't want to say the scene with the trees, it's better than saying the actual thing that happens with the trees. If you've seen the original Evil Dead, when she falls into a bramble bush in this one, you know exactly what's going to happen. It's a bit different, but you know it's going to happen, and that's what's good about it. Yeah. There is a couple of references also in the film to the original Evil Dead films. You know, a couple of nice little references, throwaway lines. Apparently, stay for the end credits, because there is a line in the middle of the end credits or at the end of the end credits, I can't remember, which is really cool. Yeah, sorry. I'm getting kind of hyped for this film, even though I've just gone to see it. On the way back, I was kind of contemplating what I enjoyed about it, whether I did enjoy it. But now thinking about the gore in the film makes up for the poor acting and the poor like cliches. Even though the cliches are good because they're fun that they're there, there are a couple of moments in the film as well. I couldn't tell whether the film was trying to be funny or whether it was trying to be serious and gory. There were a couple of moments where people in the cinema laughed out loud. I did as well, and those moments were in some of the more disturbing areas of the film. So, you know, the kind of thing where you're scared of something so you laugh at it. I don't know whether that was into play or whether it was actually funny. I laughed at one of the death scenes, well, not one of the death scenes, one of the attack scenes in the film, which was brilliant. There's also some really weird twisted things going on. One thing I didn't like, the Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead, looks different to the original Evil Dead. So I don't know whether they're trying to splice in that they're in two different parallel universes, Ash's universe and Mia's universe, and they're going to come together in this massive blue vortex. Maybe, hopefully, because that would be kind of cool, but it could also break the like goodness of the original Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, so you don't know what's going to happen. The thing in the trailer is the little nursery rhyme that Mia, zombie Mia, I'm just going to say no zombie even though it's a demon Mia, is singing doesn't happen in the film, and I had nothing wrong with that. It's just some people might have something wrong with that. I kind of, as I was watching the film, I was like, no, there's no way this is going in the film after this point, because if it goes in the film after this point, the film will drag and it will feel like it's longer. There's one scene in the film that I didn't like, I've already said is a bit convoluted and it wouldn't happen, but it kind of would happen in this franchise because this franchise is crazy, like Evil Dead 2 and Evil Dead 1. I mean, Evil Dead 1 wasn't meant to be funny. Yeah, Sam Raimi made the Evil Dead 1 as a scary film. I'm not actually scared by Evil 1, so I'm not actually scared by Evil Dead 1, so I don't really see it as funny either. So Evil Dead 1 is a bit weird with me because I know a lot of people like it and a lot of people found it funny, even though it's not meant to be funny. It wasn't made to be funny. But Evil Dead 2 was made to be funny, and Evil Dead 2 is absolutely brilliant and hilarious. I didn't understand the ending of the film because it didn't actually make sense with the kind of advice that they've been given throughout the films. There's 3 different ways of killing these demons: to chop off their limbs, to set them on fire, and to bury them alive. And then, yeah, I'm not going to spoil what happens. There's some really good gore right at the end. Well, it's kind of gore. I don't know if it's gore. I don't actually know the definition of gore. I mean, gore to me would be kind of like the stuff that happens within the film. There's loads of blood everywhere. But then there's kind of one moment in the film where it's very, very, very bloody all the time. I don't know whether that's gore or whether that's splatter. I'd probably go with gore. Yeah, there's also a really there's a couple of really good scenes in the film which are really enjoyable to watch and are there just for your entertainment. So, overall, I'm going to say this film was overall, I'm probably going to give the film a 7 or an 8 out of 10, because this film is made for the gore, and at the start of the film to the end of the film has some very good gore in it, and I really enjoyed it. Very good splatter effects, very good special effects, makeup effects. You know, it's creepy, it's not very jumpy, but there are some cool moments in it. Don't watch the trailer too much because it will spoil a little bit, but you know, I was expecting the end to be more than it actually was, and then the end happened and it was kind of like, oh, yeah, there's probably going to be a sequel, which I've read that there will be a sequel and a couple more. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. This has been my review of the Evil Dead film 2013. I might do a review of Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 at some point in the future. Also, when the new Evil Dead 2 comes out and Sam Raimi's Evil Dead 4 comes out, I might do a review of that straight from the cinema, kind of like this. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to go into a spoiler section. Sorry, I don't know why I said thanks for watching. Spoiler section now. Okay, so you've seen the film, hope you enjoyed it. This is the spoilers of the gore. My favourite scene in the entire film is when the black girl goes into the bathroom, looks into the mirror. The mirror closes and her face is like ripped off, like her mouth is like torn off, which is absolutely brilliant. And then it leads into the stoner character walking into the bathroom, getting stabbed in the heart, which doesn't really make sense because he doesn't die, but then that kind of works with the fact that he's actually evil and that the demon inside of him was pretending not to be inside of him from the very beginning when he gets stabbed by the heart. And then when she's stabbing him in the face with the needle, it's one of the most brutal scenes in any film I've seen recently anyway. It's incredibly violent and brutal, very well done, and when he pulls that needle out of his face, it is so horrible. It was absolutely brilliant. I went with a group of friends to the cinema, and there was one of our friends isn't actually a fan of horror films. He didn't really know what he was getting into when we said we wanted to go see Evil Dead, but he said we kind of forced him into it, and he said he felt faint after watching the man pull a needle out of his face, which was fucking amazing. Really cool effect. That really cool. The scene in the shower where she's boiling herself alive, that was really weird, and one of my like fears is like burning and skin blisters and boiling, just the heat, like fire and stuff like that. It was like yeah, it was like that, and it was really horrific, and it was very well done in the film. I thought that maybe couple of the blisters were a bit too CGI, but you know, it was weird. The second most brutal moment in the film was the moment where, I forgot her name, but the blonde character, that's the thing about this film, they've all got forgettable fake names. The blonde character picks up a crowbar and just repeatedly smashes these two people over the head, in the body. Their hands are like breaking, their faces are getting pummeled in, and it's really well shot and well done. It's like the heart. So yeah, thanks for watching guys. This has been my review of the Evil Dead film 2013.